earrings, you'll need 2 gemstone nuggets. These are a little bit irregular, not quite the same shape, and that's something we like about them. They're Amazonite, and they're 12 millimeters by 15 millimeters approximately. And then we're also going to use some round faceted crystals. These are 4 millimeters, and they're kind of a light peach color. We've got 2 gold rings. I love the texture on this gold ring. It's a little bit of a braid. These are 12 millimeters in diameter. And then to put the earrings together, we've got 2 gold headpins, 2 inches long, 2 gold earring wires, and 24 gauge gold wire. For tools, we're going to use round nose pliers and wire cutters. Before we get started making the earrings, I want to show you one of the earrings that we're going to make so you'll know what we're doing. So I already made this one in advance, and the way this earring is constructed is we have the Amazonite gemstone here at the bottom, our lovely irregularly shaped faceted gemstone, and we've used the head pin to make a wrapped loop up around the ring. And it's nice and loose and has some movement on the ring. And then to connect the ring, we've made wrapped loops on a connector using our peach faceted crystals here. And we've just attached the top of that to the earring wire. So let me show you how I did that. Start with the head pin. So we start with our head pin and slide on the gemstone. And you want to make sure you have a gemstone that's drilled bottom to top for this. So it could be any shape, but we like this nugget shape. And then I'm going to make a wrap loop in the top of this head pin. And to do that, I'm going to use the round nose pliers, and I'm going to pinch right above the stone as push down to the bottom of the head pin. I'm going to make a 90-degree bend in that wire, and then I'm going to reposition the pliers to the top of that bend so I can make a loop by pushing the wire over the top of the pliers. So I just push that over the top of the pliers and then reposition my pliers so that the bottom jaw is in that loop, and bring that wire on around to complete that loop. Then before I wrap it, I want to slide our ring into the loop. And I have to push it past that little crisscross that we made, but there it is in the loop. And now I can hold where the crisscross is of the wires, hold across the loop. I can pull this tail around 2 times just above the gemstone there and make a nice little wrapped loop. That's exactly how you make a wrapped loop. And then I want to trim this wire tail. I'm going to use my wire cutters for that. And I'm going to just make sure I snip the tail while I'm holding onto it without cutting through my project. I just gave it a little snip there. And that's how we attach the nugget to the bottom of the ring. And then all we need to do is make this little connector with our crystals. So to do that, I already cut a piece of our 24 gauge wire. It's about a 4 or 5 inch piece. And I'm going to make another loop at the top. This is the same type of loop we just made at the top of our gemstone. I'm going to start by making a 90-degree bend in the wire, reposition the pliers to the top of that bend so that I can make a loop over the top just by pressing the wire around. I'm letting the wire form around the pliers, and the pliers are round, so they make that round shape for me. I'm using the pliers like a mandrel. There's my little loop, and I want to attach that loop to the other side of the ring. So I just slide that into that crisscross there, and it's sitting right down in our little loop that we made. And now I do the wraps just like we did at the top of the gemstone. Pull one wire straight up and then pull the tail around 2 times. We like those little wraps to line up next to each other. So kind of push them together like that, and then trim the end of that wire with the wire cutters. I like to use the flat side of the wire cutters against the project so it makes a straight cut and not a pointy cut. So there's our little connector to the ring, and now we feed on these 2 little round crystals. You just want to make sure that all your beads fit your wire. So just test out your wire to make sure the holes are big enough for your beads. There's our 2 little crystals. And now the last step is to make one more wrapped loop. So to do that, I'm going to take the round nose pliers. I'm pushing the beads down towards the rest of the earring, and I'm going to make a 90-degree bend in the wire, reposition to the top of the bend, and then push that wire over the top to make a partial loop, reposition the bottom jaw of the pliers to finish that loop all the way around. And then I want to slide my earring wire onto the end here, and then nestle that down into the loop we just made, like that. And then all we need to do is grasp the loop across with the round nose pliers and pull that tail around 2 times. I like to use long pieces for this, so you have that tail, you have enough room to grip it. So even though I'm throwing away a piece of wire, it's not very expensive. It's a lot easier to cut that piece a little long. Now I'm going to use the wire cutters, reach in there and just trim that wire. Don't cut your project. And how simple is that? Very easy, but very beautiful gemstone drop earrings.